management, and staff of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I congratulate the board and management of MTN Nigeria on its successful listing on the NSE Premium Board. As you know, the Premium Board is the listing segment for the elite group of issuers that meet the exchange's most stringent corporate governance and listing standards. The board is a platform for showcasing companies that are industry leaders adhering to international best practices on corporate governance while meeting the exchange's highest standards of capitalization. Over the years, MTN Nigeria has evolved from one of the pioneering companies at the birth of a new industry that spearheaded Nigeria's ICT revolution to a business with the reach and ability to touch lives in every corner of Nigeria. Today, MTN's listing on the exchange reaffirms its long-term commitment to expanding telecoms and technology asset class. Sorry, I'll take that again. Today, MTN's listing on the exchange reaffirms its long-term commitment to expanding opportunities for Nigerians in addition to providing everyday services to them. This listing creates a new telecoms and technology asset class for investors and provides an opportunity for a wider group of Nigerians to be part of the Nigerian telecom growth story. Hence, the listing of MTN in the telecoms services sector under the ICT industry categorization at the exchange. From just under 500,000 phone lines in 2001 to over 150 million lines, the Nigerian telecommunications sector is an integral aspect and a major contributor to the Nigerian economy. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the sector contributed 9.46% to Nigeria's real GDP in 2018, compared to 8.66% in 2017, which indicates the sector's increasing share of national output. As you are aware, MTN recently announced its earnings for the 2018 financial year. It gives me great pleasure to know that the group recorded a strong financial performance in spite of the challenging operating environment. This fact behind the listing gives us an opportunity to look more closely at the numbers and the narrative behind the MTN's performance. Today's listing is a promising development in the country since MTN Nigeria is the first of the big four telecommunications service companies to successfully list its shares on a Nigerian securities exchange. It serves as an example to other similar situated companies, and we encourage more of the telecommunication companies in Nigeria to explore the different opportunities for raising capital on the exchange's platform. We believe that increased participation of indigenous companies in the capital market will improve credibility, entrench good corporate governance, transparency, and sustainability in these companies, as well as increase investors' confidence, both domestic and international. We are particularly pleased that MTN Nigeria has taken this strategic step to join the Premium Board of the exchange, and in so doing, the prestigious club of quoted companies in Nigeria. This step reflects the company's belief that our platform remains a veritable avenue for raising capital and enabling sustainable national growth. I commend MTN Nigeria for this bold and strategic step. Your listing on the NSE today will not only showcase your company as an established player in the telecommunications industry, but will enable the company to actualize its strategic vision, which is to lead the delivery of a bold new digital world to its customers. Today's listing by introduction of 20.35 billion ordinary shares of MTN Nigeria at a listing price of 90 naira per share is is as a result of many months of hard work by all parties to the transaction, including the Nigerian Communication Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the exchange. The listing has added a little over 1.8 trillion naira to the market capitalization of the exchange, further deepening the Nigerian capital market. It will also increase the visibility of MTN Nigeria whilst differentiating its brand as a premier player in the Nigerian economy. This listing shows the confidence MTN Nigeria has in our platform, which has a total market capitalization of 21.5 trillion naira across various asset classes. In order to remain competitive, we have implemented far-reaching programs that have improved market access and provided products that are aligned to investors' needs. We have also implemented several transparency initiatives such as broker tracks, X-compliance, X-whistle, compliance status indicator symbols, X-issuer, etc., which have significantly improved confidence in our market. The NSE is positioned as a premier listing destination for African corporates, governments, and international issuers looking to access the capital market of the largest economy in Africa. We encourage other companies operating in the telecoms industry to join MTN Nigeria by listing their shares on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would especially want to acknowledge the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata. He's not here today. Members of his executive for their dedication and commitment to making this listing a success. I would like to thank the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, for its efforts, without which this listing would not have happened today. I particularly want to acknowledge the significant work done by all the professional parties, particularly Stanbic IBTC Capital Limited and Chapel Hill Denham Advisory Limited. These professional parties took the laboring oar, working tirelessly towards the goal of listing MTN Nigeria. Indeed, the efforts of all connected with this listing, including MTN Group, are worthy of commendation. Most importantly, I want to thank the federal government of Nigeria for its support in making today a reality. I want to thank the National Council of the Exchange and my team that worked on this transaction, including the primary markets, listings regulation, market operation, and corporate communications, as well as all the other internal stakeholders that contributed to making today's listing seamless. We thank you, the invited guests, for your presence today and encourage you to participate fully during the interactive session with the company. We wish MTN Nigeria great success as it embarks on this new phase of its life's journey as a listed company on a globally recognized exchange. And we encourage the company to remain transparent in its dealings and compliant with the post-listing requirements of the exchange. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the CEO of MTN Nigeria, Mr. Ferdinand Moolman, to the podium to make his presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm the luckiest person in this room. I work in a wonderful industry, an industry that I still think is noble, where we strive to connect people to each other, where we strive to introduce people to internet, where we get people to communicate with each other, and where we interact with you when you enjoy sport and music and watch videos. And this is truly my passion, and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to work in such an industry. More so, I'm really privileged to be able to do this in Nigeria. I joined MTN in 2001, 2002 when we just started off, and I came directly to Nigeria. I can recall those days when there was no Lekki Expressway, there was no Lekki Link Bridge. On the way from the airport, you saw no electricity, you saw little kerosene lamps. And I met the most wonderful people. I then left Nigeria for MTN, and I went to one of our other operations, and I came back in 2014. And what a wonderful surprise. The country had changed. I could see the country had moved on. We had Lekki Expressway, we had the Lekki Link Bridge. There were no Mulwas left. I saw no Mulwas anymore. And the Okadas had been removed from VI and Decoy. And I find Nigeria so vibrant and so exciting, and the entrepreneurial skill set and depth in this market is just unbelievable. I'm even luckier to work with the people I work. We are 1,800 people in MTN Nigeria, and all of these people are as passionate, if not more, than what I am. And all of us enjoy connecting lives and being there for everybody else. So I'm really privileged to stand here. I have one challenge, and that is that the booklet that you have and the facts that Oscar asked me to talk about are actually just cold facts. And I really don't have the ability to bring across and to introduce you to the soul of MTN Nigeria. But I see this as a journey where we are going public today, and as you get to interact with us more and more, I know and I believe you will realize that we didn't just list a company today. We listed 1,800 employees and 60 million subscribers. Thank you very much for this. All right, so I'll get off to the business part of the presentation, and I'm going to change it slightly. I would like our CFO, we've got 2 slides in on our financial results. I would like our CFO, when I get there, to just take over those 2 slides for me. And it's not because I don't understand finance, by the way. I'm actually a boring accountant. So I prefer to sit in my office and close the door and just look at spreadsheets all day. I don't even enjoy PowerPoint. So let me take you to the first slide. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be moving this. So where do we come from? What is our DNA? I'm not even going to talk you through these figures. They speak for themselves. But I'll give you a little bit of an insight of the value that we have belonging to an international group like MTN. Actually, the most important value we get from this is that the staff that work for us get an opportunity to get training. We second our staff to other operations. In fact, Kunle, who's with me today, he was appointed in MTN Nigeria, I think around about 2001, 2002. We started together, by the way. And he was sent to our MTN branch in Iran, where he worked himself up to become CFO in our Iran branch, which is an amazing feat, by the way, because remember, in Iran, they don't speak English. Even their writing, their numbers look totally different. And Kunle came back in 2015 as CFO for MTN Nigeria. So belonging to an international group like this gives us an opportunity to really give our staff opportunities in training. And you will see this when I get to the structure as well, that the average tenure of our executive with MTN is around about 10 to 11 years. The other value we get from belonging to a group like MTN is that we have central research and development that happens at MTN Group. So I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, MTN announced that we were going to launch our own app, our own chat app. And we were also going to launch our own music streaming service, which we hope to bring to Nigeria within this year, if not early next year. The other advantage we get belonging to a group like MTN is the fact that we have access to large supplier contracts and we can get bulk discounts from these contracts. And I suppose the most important one that I should start it off was that the strong brand. As you know, MTN sponsored the World Cup in 2010, so the brand is exceptionally strong. It's really amazing for me when I check in at the airport or I'm in the street and somebody realizes I'm from MTN and they say, everywhere you go. What an amazing, amazing feeling. So this is our DNA. The cold facts around MTN Nigeria, that in Nigeria of the mobile network operators, we have the most subscribers, we have the biggest network, we have the biggest distribution network, covering the entire country, approximately 200,000 plus distributors. And we also have a very strong partnership with our vendors, where we believe in collaboration, and if we work together, we can all be successful. So just a point to show you here, if you look at, and I'll get back to it later, if you look at the number of subs, you'll see 60 million, and the number of data subs, which we call active data subs, by the way. These are people that do more than 5 megabytes a day, is only 20 million. These figures will differ with those that are published on the NCC's website, because our definition of subscriber numbers is slightly more strict than what the NCC's is. So on data subs, they count everybody. On data subs, we only count those data subscribers that do more than a certain volume. This is our Nigerian board of directors, and I'd also like to stand still for a moment here. When we were walking up the floor to list, I stood next to one of our founding, maybe we should call them visionary shareholders. And I said, what does it feel like knowing that in 2001, you guys came up with this idea and today we are listing? It must be an amazing feeling, right? And we have 6 of these directors on the board. Our chairman, I still struggle to say your name, so our chairman, Pascal. We've got Benga. Benga was the head of our listing committee. We have got Tunde, Flawiu, and Tunde was actually the one I stood next to going up. Tunde is over here. We have Chief Odile, Chief sitting over there, Colonel Sally Bello, and Malanda Suki, who is not here, and I really hope I haven't missed something out. I always say to people, when you write speeches, don't call out individual people, because there's always a risk you're going to miss somebody. So I really hope that hasn't happened. If I have, please forgive me. So these are still directors on our board, and it must be an amazing feeling. And I think if we talk about success and gratitude, this should go to these individuals that have persevered and assisted us to get us where we are today. The rest of our board is, we have 2 independent non-executive directors. Ridwan Kasant. Ridwan has got years of experience on boards, and he also has and I think you still sit on a number of boards for MTN. And then Dr. Ernest Ndukwe is on our board, and this is also quite instrumental, because Dr. Ndukwe, I think, was EVC when the licenses were issued in 2001. So the board is full of visionaries. Thank you very much. Most important slide of everybody, the closest one I can get to the soul of the company. These are the executive directors, the executive team, management, thank you, Mazen, of MTN Nigeria. The reason I put this up was not only to introduce you to the people, but to also give you a bit of a sense of how we are structured. So one of the interviews I had this morning, an international newspaper asked me about the challenges we frequently face in Nigeria, and he wanted me to comment. And I said, firstly, The markets that we specialize in are all the markets that are in developing countries, and markets that are in developing countries, you inevitably have uncertainty that goes along with it. So the structure we have is set up specifically to deal with that. So although it looks very flat, it's a very sharp structure. And we have a Chief Operating Officer, Mazen. If Mazen can stand up, and you can see Mazen. So the Mazen's responsibility is to look at the day-to-day operations of the company. So the network reports to him, the information systems report to him, advertising, marketing, all of those departments report to him, and his job is to make sure we don't take our eye off the ball. I've spoken about Kunle, who's sitting over here, CFO. We've got Esther, head of HR. We've got Uta, our company secretary, and Uta, I'd also like to take this opportunity to say thank you to you for all the hard work you've done in the listing. We've got Cyril. Cyril is a new position we created, a Chief Risk and Compliance Officer. So this is one of the positions we created. And Cyril, by the way, is also, I think you started your career in MTN, if I'm not mistaken. You also worked yourself up the ranks. Not quite start, but worked yourself up the ranks. Then Toby. Toby is my left hand or my right hand man. Toby sits over here. Okay. I take Toby with me everywhere because he speaks better than what I do. Right? Knows how to get me out of trouble. And then Esther, I think I've gone through. Those are the direct reports to me. The people on the other side are all executives in charge of the various divisions. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to ask you all to stand up at the same time. I don't think we have time to go through this thing one by one. So if I can ask all the MTN executives that are here, please just to stand up so everybody can see you. And thank you very much to all of you. The people who do the work, these people you saw here are just the ones that get the photographs, get the interviews. These are the people that do the work. I wish I had a better slide to show you. So instead of going through all the detail, we have 1,700, 1,800 odd employees. We've given a bit of a split as to which departments they work in. But let me get to the important part, which is the picture that you see at the bottom left of the presentation. This picture was taken in June of last year, and this picture reflects what we call 21 days of yellow care. This normally starts on the 1st of June every year, and this is the time when the personnel and all of us take times out of our busy schedule, and for 21 days we go into the market and we look at some cause, we identify some causes. In this particular year it was education, and we did some work in the medical field. And we go during work time out of our own money. The company doesn't provide anything. This is all staff driven. We go into the market and we contribute either towards education or to some other event. And it's a consistent event that takes place over 21 days. And this is the spirit that really lives in MTN Nigeria. The next slide gives you a bit of an overview. And I'm sorry, now I'm going to get into the real boring stuff. Ha, joking. This gives you a bit of a different view of what MTN does. So this is Bayo's slide. Bayo is also somewhere in the audience here. And I always say he does this better than me. So once again, I'll try my best. On the left over here, you'll see that just to give you an idea of the size of our network, 20 million Nigerians today live in places where MTN is the only form of communication. They have no other form of communication. We connect 850 large corporates and more than 800,000 small and medium enterprises. The blocks after that talk about the banks. We provide some form of connectivity for every bank in Nigeria. And in 2018, we carried more than 1 billion transactions on our USSD interface. This is when you use star 737 to bank with GT Bank, or 902, I think, is the code for Stanbic. So more than 1 billion transactions were carried on the network. We connect 50,000 ATM and point of sale devices in the country. The next slide in the middle talks about our foundation. The foundation was set up in 2004. The foundation has an independent board of directors, and we move 1% of our money, of our profit, into the foundation every year. And the foundation then uses it in certain corporate social responsibility projects, mostly around education, health, arts, and empowerment. Almost forgot the fourth. Very, very powerful foundation. If you go to the white block on the right, in 2018, there were 16 million of our subscribers that could make a call or use data without having any value on the platform. This is the extra time product that we give to people where they can use the services without having to pay, and then the money gets deducted on the next recharge. So it's like microfinancing. This is the quarter of the size of the Nigerian population. On the right-hand side, we are known as a carrier of carriers. So not only do we connect the banks, but we also provide capacity to most of the other operators in the market. So we provide capacity to our competitors as well. And the one that I'm really the most passionate about, the one on the bottom left, is the internet capacity we provide to universities, and technicons. This is why most of you are here, is about the investment case. This is a summary of how we look at our investment case. This is a standard template that we use in MTN. So if you go to the MTN Group website, you will see a similar template. And it's really quite easy to understand. On the left, we talk about the markets that we are in. So why are we excited about Nigeria? Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa. Nigeria has the largest telecommunication market in Africa. And we have the largest mobile network in Nigeria. On the right-hand side, talks more about how does this market look. So the market is, the population is growing by 2% per annum. This, according to some article I read some time ago, means that I think around about 2030, you're probably going to be the third or the second most populous country in the world. The average age of people in Nigeria is 18 years. What an amazing population. What an amazing opportunity. Right? It actually really just blows my mind when I think about it. And all of these people are going to want to communicate, and want to go on internet. If we look at the telco market itself, the telco market is, we believe, is underpenetrated. So the penetration calculation, if you do it on total subscribers, is probably around about 80%. Other countries in the world, you're sitting at 120, 130% mobile penetration. So over and above that, you've got population growth, you've still got an underpenetrated market. The data is underpenetrated. We've just started investing in 4G data in 2017, 2016. So the investment curve in 4G hasn't even really taken place. So there's massive capacity in the data. And then, of course, when we start speaking digital and we start speaking fintech, right? Digital, by the way, I shouldn't use these big words. Digital is like video streaming, like music streaming, like games that you play. Well, just imagine the population that we have in Nigeria and the fact that the average age is 18 and we're growing by 2%. It just really talks to huge opportunity in the market. At the bottom where we talk attractive return portfolio, this you'll see a little bit later. Our margins are good, our cash generation is good, and we have scale to be able to unlock value on that basis. And the last one talks about, well, what happens in the future? Where do we go to in the future? And this is where we basically look at mobile money and we look at digital services. So there's huge potential, not only for now, but for the future too. What does our quarter one results look like? So this is quarter ended March of this year. Okay. So we added 22.1 million subscribers in 3 months. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of what this means that we add 20,000 subscribers per day to the network. That's the speed that we are busy growing at. If you look at the data subs at the bottom, we added 1.7 million data subs. Let me rephrase it. We introduced 1.7 million Nigerians to the internet in the quarter. That's introducing 1.7 million scholars and business people to the World Wide Web in the quarter. This is about 18,000 a day. The investment in the network, you're not going to get anywhere if you do not make the investment in the network. You need to extend that network, you need to expand it. So in the quarter, we invested 63 billion naira in the network. Okay, and the end of the quarter, it gave us 71% population coverage for 3G. That figure in itself tells you the opportunity that is still there, right? We're not even talking 4G yet, and we don't have 100% coverage on 3G. So this sort of ended up where we're looking at a 12.7% growth quarter on voice. And let me stop with voice first. This is another wonderful opportunity. So in most other markets, in Europe, other markets, you don't see growth in voice revenue. You see a decline in voice revenue. The reason we believe we're still seeing growth in voice revenue is because there's still market penetration available, and because people still, I actually think Nigerians really like to talk, which is a good thing. Well done. And then you see 56% growth in data, in data volume, and you see 31% growth in data revenue. So I'll go through this slide, but then I'm going to hand over to Kunle. So this is the financial snapshot, and I apologize, and I'm hoping you have the booklet. So apologize for it being so busy. I must confess I did not do the slide. If I did it, it would look totally different and have less info in it. But it's actually quite simple to read. The blocks on the left is year-on-year comparison, and the block on, as you said, on the right is the same, but it's just quarter-on-quarter comparison. So the left one will give you a view of the annual performance, and the one on the right will give you an idea of the run rate. What does it look like on a quarterly basis? The top line looks at revenue, looks just simply at growth. Then you look at the margin. Then we show the capex that we invest, and then we show the free cash flow that's available after the capex investment. And this free cash flow basically is then used to pay the dividend. So just on the top, in 2016, and the little bubbles actually show you the growth. 2016, you'll see we declined year on year. This was also the year that there was a shortage of forex in the market, and we had some challenges, and this year also aligns with the subscriber registration issues that we had when we needed to suspend a number of subscribers. I always believe when you're in trouble, you don't look at the darkness, you look at the lining on the outside. You know, every dark cloud is a lining. And this is what we did at MTN, and we said, all right, let's take our lesson from this. What do we do? So in 2016, we started with a transformation process in the company where we re-looked at everything we were doing. We looked at the structures, we looked at our HR practices, and it was a concerted effort that we put in to start changing the company. In fact, we went out and we did a lot of market research as well. And we were shocked to find out that people no longer loved us, but they came to us out of a necessity. So part of what we're still working on, and this is an ongoing balance, is to get back into the hearts of the people that we serve. That you understand and that you come to us because you love us, not because we are the only option in the area that you live. And as I say, this is an ongoing challenge for us. Thereafter, 2017, 2018, you can see growth returns, and these returns are above inflation. So this was principally driven by subscriber growth, by usage, by voice. And our network quality also, by the way, in 2016, we re-looked at the network quality substantially, and we've been making investments in the network to get the quality up. And by the way, I do believe I need to use this opportunity to apologize to all of you if you've had network quality issues. You can either speak to Toby about it or to Mazen, right? But no, serious. I really apologize if that is the case. And we're working tirelessly to ensure that this doesn't happen again, that in fact it improves. When you look at the margins, so the margin is quite healthy. We've stabilized the margin around about the 44%, and be careful when you look at the other side. There's been an accounting change that we needed to implement this year, IFRS requirement that was made. You'll see it when Kunle goes through the financials. That sort of just throws the figures around a little bit, but the margin, the profit margin, is stable. And then the capex investment. So I gave you the quarterly figure in the previous slide. Here you're looking at an average capital investment every year of about 200 billion naira per year. And the free cash flow at the bottom, as I said, is more than healthy enough for us to be able to fund our dividend. So this is where I have time to take some water, and Kunle can quickly run you through the figures.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Freddy. When you started, you said that you are privileged to be here today. I'll throw a challenge to you. I am absolutely blessed to be the CFO on this day. I'm more than that. I'm blessed to be a Nigerian in charge of this. So I've been given the difficult task of trying to explain numbers in the afternoon. So, so I'm going to make it quick, and I'll tell you the way I look at numbers internally. I look at numbers. What is the most important asset to us is our customer. Our customer, and what do? We provide them services, and they give us their resources. And that is my job. They give us their resources, and that is our revenue numbers that you see there. And my job then is what? Is to make sure that that resources is optimally allocated across all stakeholders and our shareholders. And that's the way I normally look at an income statement. So if you take this income statement, what does it say? It says that, and I must caution that the numbers that I'm showing here are unaudited for quarter 1, 2019. But the way to look at it is to say that that revenue, that pie that is being given to us by our customer, so it's a pie. I look at it and I say, what has happened to it in quarter 1? That pie expanded 13.2 year on year. When you look at quarter 1 versus quarter 2, expanded. And then my job then starts to say, after we provided quality service, we've gotten the money, what did we do with the money? And we then start the allocation. So the rest of the lines that you see there, government duties, you look at the network expansions, our vendors, our partners, our distribution partners, the whole of our ecosystem. That is the allocation that you see right across. So what happened to the allocation? So we took the money, the pie that has been given to us, we sliced it across. We gave what was due to CISA, we give it to government, right? What was due to government, right? And then we gave the rest of that, and we looked at it, and I said we gave what we needed to pay to the supplier, we paid them. And what happened at the bottom line? We talked about EBITDA. EBITDA is what you brought back after you've done the allocation. And EBITDA, you see that EBITDA increase is about 44%. I must warn you that when we looked at the numbers in quarter 1, 2019, there has been a change of accounting standard. And what is done is that it made it very difficult for you to look at a telecom income statement and look at it from EBITDA and compare year on year. So some of the things we used to classify as operating expenses has come down into depreciation, and some has come down into finance costs. But it doesn't change the story. The story is that we've taken the pie that has been given to us, and what have we done with it, right? So what we've done with it is that it came down to EBITDA, and we had an increase of 44%. If I strip off the impact of IFRS 16, it's a 20% increase that you see there. And then you have the rest of what did you do. So we also protected the future. I look at that pie and I said, I need to protect the future. So we invested in the network, and that investment is going to cost us. That's why you see the depreciation. And our most important asset, which are spectrum and licenses. So that's why you see there. And then you then have the banker sitting there. You have to pay finance charges. So it's all about the allocation of that pie. So bottom line is, after you've done the allocation, including what we've paid to your staff, what we pay to vendors, what we've paid to everyone that is involved in my ecosystem, what do I give to the people that have invested in the company? And then you come back to the line that we call profit after tax. Profit after tax is the 50% for our first quarter. When I look at our numbers, I'm an accountant, and what we are being told to do is to talk about the history of the past, right? So what I'm talking about is performance. I used to tell everyone, do not be excited. It is not enough to be excited about the history of MTN performance. I'm more excited about the future of where this company can go, the opportunity this company has got. So I'll go to my next slide. Okay. So I'm not going to bore you with what has happened to balance sheet. So I also give you a view when I look at the balance sheet. What is our biggest asset? It's just, we call it our oil. So you see that our biggest asset is our properties and equipment, our investment in Nigeria, investment in tangible assets, investment in switches, investment in our infrastructure. And we also have something that is very critical to the running of our operation. And that's why you see the intangible asset that you see there is our spectrum. Is the things that we don't see, is they are the intangible things, and they are the oil that makes the wheel to work. So two important points there. Property and plant and equipment has increased. If you look at it on a quarter, year-on-year basis, you will see a jump going from 64 billion to more than 1 trillion. I just want to warn you that that is the impact of accounting. It is not as if we have invested that. Is the IFRS 16 impact that we need to account for. I'm not going to bore you with the details of how that has been. In short, the summary of it is that I have to do some accounting, and I've had to add about 550 billion to our property and plant and equipment. And when you do that, you also create a liability. So you see the impact of that in the non-current liability is going up. So that is the balance sheet. Freddie, I need to hand over back to you. I keep saying that what we need to talk about is the future. So I know the history is important, but our future is what we need to focus on.
I've just got 2 slides left, so it's not afternoon. As you get to know us, you will see this word more and more. This is our battle cry. This is an acronym that we've come up with. This is what everybody aligns to, and everybody understands how they contribute to the company and what we want to do. So I'm going to take 5 minutes and quickly explain to you what it means. So as I said, the word BRIGHT is an acronym. The part on the B on the left-hand side, or where we start, the B is best customer experience. You would have heard Kunle and I have spoken about this a few times. So this is most important for us, and it's a starting point for us. The one on the right-hand side is technology. We're nothing if we don't have a technology, and we don't have switches, and we don't have fiber in the ground. The R is returns. This is what Kunle had addressed now. This is your EBITDA margin, your free cash flow margin. These type of things sits in R. The H is really split into 2. The H is firstly about our people that work for us. How do we treat these people? How do we look after them? How do we make them feel safe? And the other part of the H is what we call minds. This is where we manage stakeholder management. People like you, for example, the press, etc., sits in H. And the ING is the commercial part of our battle cry. The G is the easiest one to remember, and this is Kunle's favorite, the future. Where is the money going to come from? What are we going to do after tomorrow? And the I, that's why you see data, digital, and fintech sitting under the G, because this is the future for us. And under the I is the existing services we have. How do we expand the ones that we already have? So this is bright. I'm not going to go into the detail of all the other letters. And as I said, we roll this down to the lowest level in the company, and we manage our performance according to that also. This is my second last slide. So growth opportunities for the future. And in fact, also a bit of a view of what the company looks like now. These are the 6 revenue streams we have. The voice revenue that I spoke about, this is normal calls that we make. On the right, you see data. I've spent quite a bit of time on data. Then we have fintech. So what sits in fintech is the mobile money. And then, if you recall, I told you that we provided credit to 16 million Nigerians to make phone calls and data. That's a product called Extra Time. That sits under our fintech. It's like micro lending. It's airtime only. On the right, you have digital. This is the video streaming, music streaming, gaming, these type of things. And then the bottom two, you can almost group together. Enterprise is more of a market segment. So this is where we look at small and medium enterprises. And the wholesale business is where we sell capacity to other operators in the country as well. I actually forgot to tell you also that the relationship with MTN Group also brings us business that we normally wouldn't have, and we concluded a contract with Facebook during the course of last year to carry their traffic for them. So this would not have been possible did we not have the international group connection. So this also sits on the wholesale side. The reality of it is the growth in all of this sits in the fact that the market is still underpenetrated. There's still a lot of people out there that are not communicating and not connecting. There's still people that are not using, the data quality is not that good, so your volume of data is not at a high level. So there's a lot of opportunity sitting out there. I spoke a lot about data, fintech, data, voice, and digital. Maybe I'll just spend a minute quickly on fintech. As you know, CBN has come out with new regulations, which has allowed the mobile operators also to contribute in the mobile money space. This is called a PSB license and a super agent license. We've applied for both of these and we are awaiting the outcome of this. But why do we want to get involved in this? What do we see the value is? What do we think we can contribute? It's actually really simple. We estimate there are 30 million Nigerians right now that do not have access to any banking services whatsoever. And most probably because these people are sitting in rural areas and they don't have access to the technology. As a telecommunication company, this is our job. This is our core business, is going to areas like rural areas where there is no coverage. This is what we do every single day. As opposed to our friends in the banking sector that say, you know, it's not necessarily cost effective to put a branch up for them in a rural area. So what we see are those people that do not have bank accounts. What we see is that Nigeria is still very much a cash society, obviously driven by this 39 to 40 million Nigerians that don't have bank accounts. And this is where we believe we can add huge value, and this is what we are targeting. So, ladies and gentlemen, other than introducing the stock to you, which you can see and which was already done, sorry, I've got one more slide, on the stock exchange this morning, I might say the only executive decision I could take in this whole listing process, and I kept it away from the listing committee, was what the ticker would be on the board, right? So somebody came to me, I said, please put MTN in there, right? This is the identity to the company. So this is the listing detail that's in the back of the pack, and I'd like it to go down in history that I was the one to agree that the ticker could be MTN. What's the rationale for our listing? In 2007, we already started a process whereby we set up a beneficial shareholder structure, and we extended our local shareholder base from 10% in those days to 20%. So we have a local shareholding base of round about 20%. So the localization of MTN started around about 2007. This to me is the next step of that localization process, where we now trading our shares and the public at large can now invest in MTN. We anticipate another step in this process. We anticipate doing an IPO at a future date. So at that particular point in time, I think we would have concluded the project by looking at localization. But it's important to note that as we stand now, probably 20% of our shares are already held by Nigerians. So this is really the first step. We are also proud to contribute to the growth in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And Oscar and I had a discussion when we were interviewed by CNBC, he was asked a question about the growth in the stock exchange. And I said I was very tempted to set out the challenge there for the other mobile operators in Nigeria and say, we've led the way. And there I'll say, like we've always done, please come and join us on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And let's create a deeper and a bigger stock exchange. And the last one I'd like to rephrase. For me, what is important is we live and we work in Nigeria, and now we are also listed in Nigeria, and our shares are traded in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, the very last slide, which is not in here, it is here. The most important slide is the thank you. So I really want to say thank you to the team that worked on this, to our advisors. Thank you very much. It's been a very difficult journey. We've had many obstacles in the way. I think you guys are true examples of what happens when you don't give up, when you always focus on what your objective is. And doesn't matter the challenges that you are given in life, you continue to focus on your objective. So to the listing team, thank you very, very much. The next thank you is to the staff of MTN, the 1,800 MTNers out there, which I think are still all in the office at MTN Plaza. Thank you very much, guys. It's really an honor and a privilege to represent you. And I hope I made you proud. And the last most important one is thank you to all of you, and thank you to our 16 million people out there that make our company possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fedi, for an excellent presentation. We're going to go into the interactive session. We're going to take rounds of questions, 3 questions per round. You indicate, I would point you out, and you would tell us your affiliation and then go straight to the question. Because I know there will be so many questions, we're going to limit you to 1 question per person. Can I see the hands? There are mics going around too. Okay, so there's one here. Where are the mics? Okay. So there's one here. Where's the second one? Nonna, okay. Nonna, and then the third one. Okay, the third one. Okay, so we have 3 for the first round. Let's start. Go ahead. So.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Uzum from Royal Guarantee and Trust Limited. Hello. Hello. Okay. My name is Paul Uzum from Royal Guarantee and Trust Limited. My question is this: why did the book runners use 2 kobo as the nominal value for the shares of MTN, as against a market norm of 50 kobo for nominal value of the shares? Thank you.
Nonna, second question.
Thank you, the chairman of the occasion. My question is going to be...
Nonna, can you introduce yourself first?
Okay. My name's Nona Awu. I do work with Palesa Capital Market Associates. And we also run a TV program called Sock and Shirts. I'm a Nigerian, I live in Lagos. I want to raise question on the expected IPO, and I'll be asking, what date or what period will this be coming in view of the things that we saw on trading today? And will the IPO's position be factoring the preference shares? And will it also be looking at the fact that the power value issue that is also being raised. Because one is expecting that when you probably will be coming for the IPO, as a way of reducing the number of shares or increasing the number of shares, you may also have to adjust the power value. I want you to take this together. Thank you very much.
Okay. And the third question is from Mr. Boniface. We'll keep to one question, please.
Yeah, one question.
Yeah.
I stand on the existing protocol. My name is Okizia Boniface. I represent the shareholders minorities. I want to commend the company for coming today to list. Over the years, we have been hearing this rumor, we are coming, food dragon. But at last, you made it. Because this is a place for you to come, and you will be protected. If things government have been doing to you, and you have been supposed to list over the years, they won't do that to you, because Nigerians have invested in you. But unfortunately today, as is a practical in the past, that when a company lists today, and many investors ask their brokers to buy for them, these shares would have made available. I don't know why the shares went to voicemail that is not really available for people to trade. Because you can't list such a magnitude of shares, and the brokers are scrambling, and they can't get for it, you know. What happened? We do listed or crossing? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we allowed the company to answer the first round of questions while you guys are reloading for the second round.
Thank you for the questions. I'll take the first one. It was the question about why did we the 2 kobo power value. So when we started the process of listing, we already had an equity capital of 1 naira of about 401 million ordinary shares. And when we started looking at the value, and the valuation of the company, we did realize that to make the shares of the company to be affordable, we will need to do a subdivision of the shares. So we then subdivided what we had before by 50, and that's how we have at the 2 kobo. It's just to make it affordable, but to take it to an affordable price.
Okay, I'll take your question. Firstly, there's no set date for the IPO as yet. I must tell you honestly, I'm just very happy to get to the listing date, and we now want to get back to the business that we are here for, connecting people. But we will obviously be looking at this, and obviously it will depend on market conditions and what we ultimately need the money for. You had a question on the preference shares. When we do go to the IPO, it won't include the preference shares. So, yeah, that was it.
There was a third question. Okay, let me. The question that we get in is that about the supply. For the company, we started this process a long time ago, and we actually got to a point last year that we nearly did our IPO. But circumstances did not allow us to come to the market, and those circumstances are still actually existing. What we've done is to keep working on the process, and we say we'll take a 2-pronged approach. This is the phase 1 of it, to say let's list the company shares. We've got existing shareholders who will create liquidity for them, and create a process where the supply and demand factors could find an equilibrium price, where people that need to take liquidity can then come back into the market. The second phase is there. We currently have about 20% ownership. You must have heard MTN Group saying that their intention, their objective is to try and get this to about 35% ownership. Majority of multinational in Nigeria, you have about 35 of that being owned by locals. So this is still our plan. When we can do a fair value valuation of the company, it's the intention of the company to go back there. We have to broaden, we have to deepen the ownership base of MTN PLC.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take the second round. Yes, one hand there. Hold on. 2 more. Where are the other? Who? Okay, there's one there. And the third one. Okay, so we'll take those two, and then we'll wrap it up.
Protocols duly observed. Kehinde Adiaga, stock market report on MITV. I want to ask, recently, we noticed that you had an issue in Ghana where investors trooped out to say they are not happy with what they have invested in. I want you to give us an assurance that since you are in the market now, that you will not just take the money and before we know it, you are out, asking for the regulators to get you delisted. Just an assurance of what happened in Ghana will not happen here in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay.
Where is the second person?
Okay. My name is Andy Tsaku. I trade for Capital Care. The CEO, when he was talking, he made the comment that there's much more to talk into the future than talking backwards. For those who have not had the benefit of being shareholders of MTN preceding today, and therefore do not know how much of the pudding has been eaten so far, what's the take into the future for an aspiring shareholder in terms of the benefit you're projecting? Because I didn't hear that being mentioned as part of the future hope. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take the first question on Ghana and MTN's commitment to Nigeria. I can't comment on Ghana. I don't have the full detail as to what transpired, but I did think I should comment on your question in terms of leaving Nigeria. As you know, we've been through quite a number of issues in Nigeria, and nowhere during the course of that time did we ever say we were going to leave. In fact, as you saw in my presentation, we actually invested even more in those periods in time when you look at our capex. So we believe in this market. We think this market is exceptionally strong, versatile, and we are here to stay.
There was a question about me talking. I was the one that actually made a reference to the past, that being an accountant, I'm always asked to talk about the past performance. That the full quotation is that I prefer the dreams of the future rather than the history of the past. And I've always worked towards this. But it doesn't mean that we want to ignore the past. If you actually look at the past of this company, the performance has been, and I think Freddy showed a slide I showed you that for the past 2 years, we've been growing at a rate that is higher than inflation. We keep looking, we keep working, and it's not just to get that performance in, it's also to improve the quality of services that we provide in Nigeria. It is a company that keeps investing, and there's no way a company like this is just going to disappear in terms of performance. So my goal is to bring that pie home, is to bring it to the shareholders. And we work tirelessly. So if you walk into my office, you will see me with a big banner that says, let's protect the pie, right? And that protection of that pie is for the shareholders. And that is the goal of the company. So we provide services, and right at the end is to protect the pie and make sure that there's an optimal allocation of that pie.
I thought I would just add something to it as well. When you looked at my slide, I showed you the revenue, the margin, the capex, and then I spoke about free cash flow, and I mentioned that the free cash flow is what you use to basically fund your dividend. So what I did forget to tell you is that we do have a target at this point in time that we would like to declare 80% of our distributable profit as dividend, right?
Our dividend policy is in the medium term. We target to distribute at least 80% of our distributable income, depending on market conditions, cash flow abilities, and investment opportunities. Historically, our dividend performance has been great internally, and we do not intend to abandon this.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. You will agree with me that they've done justice to the questions. Let's appreciate them. Let me invite the doyen to give the vote of thanks.
And other members of the Nigerian Stock Exchange hereby present, the chairman and directors of MTN hereby present. On behalf of my distinguished brokers, I'd like to express our thanks to you for coming here this afternoon and giving us more detailed information about the performance of your company. We have noted some of the information you have provided about your operation. We have noted particularly the promise made by your financial guy that he will ensure that the company will not only continue to maintain the past good performance they have recorded, but they will strive to even improve on that. Let me assure you that as you have witnessed this afternoon, the interest in your company is overwhelming. And the demand for your stock as of today, and as it has been reflected on the floor, is also great. To sustain that interest, you have to keep regular contact with the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Let me assure you that prices on the Nigerian Stock Exchange are determined by three major factors, one of which is what we've been talking about, your published account, which, like we have alluded to earlier on, give us your historical performance. But more importantly, also is information, your current information about your operation. And the third factor is that if you don't give us and be very close to the market and disclose information to the market, then the third factor influencing price comes in, and that is rumor mongering. There will be that, and that might not necessarily work to your favor because that might have a negative impact on you. So the closer you are to the market, the closer you disclose more information, even when you have challenges, let the market know, let the stock exchange know, through the stock exchange, the brokers. The brokers and the stock exchange will understand even when you have challenges and reflect it in your pricing accordingly. But where you don't have that and you allow speculation to take over, it might work against you. The interest by the broker is high. The challenge for you is to maintain that. And the best way to do that, keep in touch with your broker, keep in touch with the broker stock exchange, keep in touch with the market as a whole. We thank you for coming this afternoon. We welcome you and like to do more business with you.
So that brings us to the conclusion of this aspect of the programs. Thank you very much.